Hello, and we're here today to talk about how to create a healthy routine. It's really important that we create a healthy routine because it will not only benefit our body but also our mind. The more that we have to think of on a daily basis, so if we don't have a routine, the more stress that can put our body under because we're constantly having to make decisions. So having a bit of a routine set out can actually just be really good to help us keep a clear mind and to know what we're doing on a daily basis. So it's important to start off with that you get a good work-life balance. Now, if you find that you're working from home, particularly at the moment with COVID and everything going on, it's really important that you create a separate workspace and rest space. So if you have to work from home, then try and work in a different part of the house, in a different room. If you have to work in the same room that you would normally relax in, try and sit in a different chair to normal. So work at a different chair at the dining room table. Change the lighting when you're working so you've got a brighter light when you're working, and then when you come to relaxing, change the light up, dim it off, maybe put on some table lights, some candles, something that makes a shift between workspace and rest space. Because ideally our bedroom would be just kept for sleeping and for sex, so for relaxing, and then that allows us to relax properly in that space. Whereas if we're working in that area, then that can confuse us a bit. So it's just important that we can separate between them so that we're able to relax and get a good night's rest. Have regular breaks. It's really important to actually even to increase your productivity that you are taking regular breaks during work. Obviously, when we're working away from home, that can be a lot easier to take breaks because they're very set out. But when we're working at home, it's really important that we still factor in these breaks. Our brain needs a chance to assimilate any information that we've been taking on board, and it actually will speed up your brain function after the break because it's had a chance to deal with all that information, if you like, and then move on to the next lot. Make some time for your family. Connection is really important. Connect with your friends as well. Particularly at the moment, it's food for the soul, and it will help keep you calmer, it will help keep you energized, and these are the people that inspire you, that lift you up. So it's really important that you have them around you and that you do make time for them as well as working. And also make time for yourself. So as well as creating that space, maybe on a Saturday afternoon to do something with your family or your friends, make some time for yourself. Me time is so important. If you think that if you're in an aeroplane and it was going down, you'd need to put on your own oxygen mask before you can help anybody else, it's really important you've got your own headspace and your own clarity together before you can make time to enjoy time with other people. So having a bit of time for you to chill out, to relieve any tension of your own is really important. So right, food for nourishment. It's really important that we also consider what we're eating to nourish ourselves. So right back to the caveman days, we were hunter-gatherers, and that means that we would have to exercise or expend energy to try and fight to get our food, to hunt for our food, or we would gather food. So we'd gather fruits when they were available, which would tend to be around kind of harvest time, which would mean that you were eating a lot of sweeter foods then, when they were available, rather than all the year round. So we're having to not only work for our food, but we weren't having as much sweet food all the time. We were eating just to nourish ourselves. And that is our kind of optimum. So now we can fall into eating convenience foods. Life is hectic and busy. It's a lot easier to just grab something and go. But it's important when you're eating convenience foods to recognise that to preserve these foods, to make them last, they need to have a lot of chemicals in them to keep them from going off. And that means that they have a lot less vitamins than fresh foods have. So it's really important that you do need to get some of these fresh foods into your diet, some homemade meals as well, because that will help keep your energy levels up and it will help nourish your whole body. Also, in convenient foods, there are a lot more calories. So if you think with chocolate bars or crisps or something, you'll have minimal food in terms of the size of what you've got, but you'll have a lot of calories in that small package. Whereas a healthy alternative, or something that might be more nutritious, would be a larger portion full of nutrients. And we all kind of like to reach for these sweet treats because that's kind of inbuilt in us. We do want like a nice sweet treat. It gives us like a nice little hit afterwards. We feel good momentarily. But with that little hit of that high, we will also get some dips. So we'll get like a nice little spike of, oh, feeling really good because I've got this sudden little quick burst of sugar. And then once that runs out, which it does run out quite quickly, you'll then find, oh, I've got a dip. And this can also affect our mood. So when we've got that high, then we're forcing our body needs to produce insulin to be able to control our blood sugar levels, which will then drop the sugar levels to what we need them to be. But this is like a stress response on the body. So our body, when we're taking on the sugar, first of all, we get that lovely hit, and then the dip is when we're getting that like stress, because our body's going, oh, well, we thought we had some energy and now it's gone again, which is what tends to get you to reach for it again. So it's really important that you're aware that sometimes these more sugary foods can create that kind of hangry feeling of first feeling up and then feeling down and needing to reach for something else. So it's important that you do think about that and how you're nourishing yourself. Because you can eat a lot, or you can eat the same amount of calories in a more nutritious meal and have less hunger and grow more protein than you would if you were eating maybe a more convenience food diet, which would still leave you feeling hungry, reaching for more, giving you that dip. So it's just important to recognise this. Obviously, it's also important to have treats from time to time, now and again, but if you're aware of what it's doing to you, you can make the healthy choices for you. So caffeine, that again has that same way of creating a spike. So you'll get like this rush of caffeine and then you'll drop off. And that does the same thing like the hangry thing. It makes your body kind of have this kind of false hit and then it drops off and then you'll be reaching for more because you're having a low. So that again stresses your body out. So it's really important that you can recognise how your food actually might be contributing to how you're feeling and the moods you're in. So it's really important. I always like to think about it as eating as though I'm caring for my human pet. So I am the human pet. And there was this study actually of this poor elephant that lived in like a zoo in an enclosure and was being fed junk food, which wasn't the proper elephant diet at all. And it was really bad-tempered and angry and aggressive towards its keepers and everything. And then before they decided to move it to a lovely new enclosure in a happier place, they just decided, okay, well, we'll try feeding it better food, the food that it actually deserves to eat, that it's used to eating, that's a proper elephant diet. And just eating better foods for it made it happier, made it less stressed because there was a lot less stress on its body. Its body didn't constantly have these peaks and troughs to cope with, and it actually calmed it down and made it a lot better tempered. So I just always like to think about making sure that I'm eating food that's not only going to give me a bit of enjoyment, but that's going to give me a long-term well-being. So water for life. Water is key. Without water, we can't survive. You can survive 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. So 3 days, water is so vital to all our bodily functions. It hydrates us, it keeps us on a cellular level working well. It flushes waste from our body, so it helps us kind of flush out all the toxins and keep us healthy from the inside. So if you look at those little intestines at the top, after the water's flushed through, it's so much happier. And basically that is what it does. The water flushes all these toxins, all the waste products out of our body. It regulates our body temperature, which can also regulate our mood. So if you don't have enough water, if you find you're getting a bit dehydrated, that might make your body temperature either raise or dip. And that can make you feel really either cold or hot, and that can really affect our mood. So it's important to recognise that we need water to do these really simple bodily functions. And also brain function. It gives you a lot better chance for clear thinking because everything is working properly. You can focus much better because you're hydrated and your brain is then working at its optimum level. So that is really key as well. So think about the importance of water and being hydrated because dehydration really causes stress on our body. Dehydration is so bad for us. So if you think about how the caffeine causes stress, dehydration causes stress at a cellular level. Our cells are not able to cope, they can't function properly. So then they're sending messages to our organs going, can't function, everything's going wrong. So that sends a trigger to your brain, which makes you go, everything's going wrong. So you're putting yourself in a really stressful place if you aren't drinking enough water. And just top that up on top of your other drinks as well. But water is really key to hydrate us. Lastly, me time. It's really, really important, particularly at the moment during lockdown when we're living a lot on top of one another, that you do take time for yourself. And this can be through exercise. So this energizes us, it gives us endorphins. When we are using our muscles, we are both contracting and then releasing them. So if you think when you're tense, your muscles are really tense and they're held and they're contracted. But whereas when you're exercising, they are moving, so they're fluid. So they're both releasing and then tensing. And that can help flush out any tension and bad feeling. Having a bit of me time also gives us a bit of clarity for ourselves. It allows us a chance to get our own thoughts in order, and it can help inspire us because we're not stuck dancing to someone else's tune all the time. We're getting to live as ourselves, which is what we really are built to do. So when you're taking this me time, be mindful of what you spend your time doing. Like, do things that energize you, that make you feel good, that make you happy. So the most important thing is to focus on these things. Find the things that make you happy rather than spending your time maybe mindlessly scrolling, which might make you feel a bit negative afterwards, or spending too much time on social media. We can get a false impression of how everybody else is living and then feel a bit worse afterwards. Or watching the news. Sometimes that can make us feel a bit more negative. So just be mindful of what you're surrounding yourself with the people that you're surrounding yourself with, but also the books you're reading, the programs you're watching, the articles that you're taking on board. If it makes you feel good, try and fit it in. If it doesn't, then just maybe minimize how much time you spend doing that. Because you become what you feed your mind. So if you're feeding yourself drama, bad news and negativity, you're going to be feeling really negative. You're going to be feeling full of drama. Whereas if you're feeding yourself with positivity and discipline and dreams and ambition, then you're going to be feeling a lot more focused and like you can achieve anything you want. So lastly, a list of joys. This is really important. I want you to come up with 20 things that bring you joy. These can be really small things. I want 15 of them to be really small things that you could do on a daily basis, like have a bath or go for a run, eat your favourite chocolate bar, cook a meal with your partner, whatever it is, something that brings you real joy and makes you feel really good. And then 5 things that are things to look forward to. So having something to look forward to in the future can give us a more positive outlook, can give us hope, and can get us in a more excited mindset. So your list of joys, 15 that you can do on a daily basis, and I want to get you started doing them on a daily basis because it will really energize you and it will make you feel a lot better. And as I say, they can be really small things, just a peaceful cup of coffee to yourself with a biscuit. Whatever makes you feel good, fit the time in on a daily basis for that. So you become what you eat. So eat good, look good, feel good. Like I say, think about what you're putting into your body. Think about how important it is to create this healthy routine for yourself. Thank you for taking the time for yourself, because what you take into yourself, you become. So thank you for taking that time today. You have done something positive for yourself. So hopefully you'll be feeling positive now. Have a great day. Take care.